Started. And by 10 seconds, I mean now.
And by now, you mean like after the delay.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, we're also experiencing the delay, but yes, no. You're right. So, this is a pretty, unlike some RPG speedruns, we get right to it from the very get-go. Changing the config, the battle speed to 6 and the message speed to 1, and setting our cursor to memory. All of this is going to be incredibly important, including these fights. So, to quickly explain the fights, what we're trying to do here is we are trying to get Terra or question mark as many levels and experience as possible, and we do this by forcing both Vix and Wedge to run away from all of these beginning battles where at all possible. And we do that by abusing the way the ATB gauge works in this game, and the fact that each character has an individual run gauge which they have to fill up. So you're going to see our runners having their characters run while other people are doing actions, at times where they can't run, like in this pincer attack, and arranging it so all the extra characters run away as soon as it's possible.
That's right. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Really needs all of the experience that she can get. It's almost like she'll be important or something.
Right?
Who knows?
Though, to be fair, it's less that she's important and more that there's a lot of experience routing that goes on in this game, and that's incredibly important. We are trying to get a future character up to a level high enough to get a special ability which we are going to use gratuitously.
Yeah, it's kind of rare in speedruns that you will see quite as much experience routing early in the run as you will see in this one, but there's a lot of enemies fought both here and also on, what is it, Mount Colts?
Yeah, Mount Colts.
That's what it's called?
I hope so. That's what we're going to call it from here on in.
Nice! That was like Mount Hobbs, Mount Ordeals, Mount something.
Exactly. So one of the reasons that they are killing some of the enemies before attempting to run away is that certain enemies make it so that you cannot run from battle so long as they are alive. And both the Vomammoths and the Lobos fall into this category. And you also can't run away unaided if you're in a pincer attack. So all of those situations have to be remedied before we can send our 2 soldiers away. Unfortunately, KwehstopherWarken did not get his dudes to run away in one of his battles, so he will have to make up that experience. It's not a huge deal, but if he was step routing, it could have a huge effect because the step route takes very careful account of what battles to fight.
Yeah, this is... So as Natara explained earlier, these matchups are all random, but... this happens to be one where KwehstopherWarken is kind of a complete newcomer to this game, and Liin is
Quite
the winner of our last tournament in this category, and also has, like, you know, I think a top 3 time in a couple categories of the main game. So yeah.
Yeah, so some of these early matches are going to be extraordinarily unbalanced, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be a great watch and a really good experience for the racers themselves. So to talk about the fight, which is happening right here, is Liin is currently in the Welk fight, which is the first boss battle of the game, and what he is attempting to get is called the Welk Quick Kill, which is where he manipulates the ATB of the boss to kill it before it goes into its shell, which he has very nicely succeeded at. So he abuses the fact that you can pause the enemy's ATB gauge by having a menu screen open at the same time. He also, you saw he then attacked the dying Welk with a fire, and it seems like that's just out of nowhere, but in fact he was setting up his memory cursor because that is the ability that Terra is going to be using to level up in the next bunch of fights.
And, you know, really well executed quick kill there on the Welk.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So the general goal is to have Terra attacking the main Welk part with the tech missiles while having menus up in between, and also taking advantage of the fact that attacking the shell makes it counterattack you. So, setting that up, so while it's counterattacking, it's not hiding away in its shell and getting off some extra attacks to finish off.
And you can see this is going a little bit differently for KwehstopherWarken, who I think missed his weight trick early, tried to make up for it, and is now just kind of playing it by ear, it looks like.
Yeah, I think he might be a little new. Weight tricking is easier once you get a hang of it and understand the concept behind it, but it's a little complicated, especially dealing with the variable ATB of the battles. So for someone new to the run, the quick kills are quite extraordinarily difficult, but do eventually get much easier with practice.
I mean, they're not horrible to do, but it's definitely something where if you have no experience practicing it or anything, it's, yeah, it's got to be learned still.
Absolutely. So you will have noticed that Liin named our character Terra only T because this game has scrolling text boxes. So the idea is to save frames, we name any characters with any amount of text boxes at all down to one character to save frames. And sometimes to make memes. Because, you know, you gotta amuse yourself throughout all the cutscenes. So, but KwehstopherWarken also getting whelked down, so that's the important part, even with a slime Terra, which is never ideal.
Yeah, Terra getting slowed in this fight is really the worst thing that can happen from both an ATB perspective and also for the quick kill setup perspective.
Yeah, exactly. So now that Liin has made it in to this cave with Terra alone, his goal is going to be to kill all of the enemies he comes across. And other than taking a few extra steps at the end to farm one extra encounter, he will end up at level 6 right at the end of his walk, which just in time to learn Antidote or Antidote, and then he will know he is ready to progress to the next set of cutscenes. I hope you guys like cutscenes also, because there are so many.
Yeah, there's a gigantic castle of cutscenes in this run.
Oh, man.
But yeah, the way it works for runners such as Liin, who has set up way beforehand, is they all want to get on a specific seed, which I believe for this one is 244 or 254. I can never remember which one it is, but
it's 244 is the one we're aiming for. I think it's only the 52 deaths one you want 245.
Right. So he's set up to get this seed. He knows where all of his encounters will be on his route, and so he knows for a fact that he's going to take 3 encounters here early, and then his 4th will be walking back and forth right before he triggers the cutscene to get into the next batch of whole day.
Yeah, exactly. So that does bring up a good point, though, is that you need to know exactly how to best use the buttons to advance the story. And most of the time you are going to be mashing A, but there are a few times where you actually do hold A, either just to skip text or to win through battles because of the beauty of memory cursor. So any cutscenes you get which are in an actual fight, you just press A and let the text scroll as fast as it possibly can. If you're walking up to talk to someone, you just hold like the direction and A, and it will again trigger that text box as soon as possible. So there's definitely a lot of finesse and practice you can do to save frames wherever possible.
So yeah, Liin's in the middle of all these cutscenes. KwehstopherWarken's about to go start leveling up on his Terra because he had some runaways fail for him early. He's going to take more battles to do this too, so you're going to see him, unfortunately, fall even further behind.
Yeah, exactly. So lots of cutscenes here. They're beautiful. Little piece of trivia you may or may not have known. Certain things in this game which you wouldn't expect to be are actually status ailments, such as the Magitech armors and Interceptor, the counter you get with Shadow. So the reason Kefka is in a Magitech armor in that cutscene is because in order to have Terra in one, they had to have him in one too.
Yeah, and some of the categories of this run kind of end with some of these characters wearing the Magitech armor too. So
Yeah, it's pretty fabulous.
Interesting watch.
Yeah. I just find it such an interesting mechanic that they're like, okay, we're just going to make this a status ailment. So beautiful.
And here comes the pincer.
Oh, yeah. And by oh, yeah, we mean sadness and tears, because you can't total party select something. Even though he was meant to kill both of them anyways, he's not able to do the magic all on both of them because of the pincer. So even in this situation where he wasn't going to run anyways, you just never want a pincer. So what he's doing is, where he's not on step route, he's being safe and farming his encounters down below.
And Liin has gotten hold of L, our master thief, who has very little purpose in this run. But good for him, he's a character. He counts too.
I still love him, even if he does nothing in this run or basically any run.
He knows how to throw a thunder rod.
Ah, yeah, he does. And he knows how to treasure hunt things. He does it so well. So to explain the fight that's coming up here now on Liin's screen, is one of the mechanics kind of added to Final Fantasy VI, and thankfully not continued, is the multi-party fight, where they walk through a maze in multiple parties. You're supposed to defeat all the enemies on the way, defending something in the back, and then go up front and defeat a big enemy, and yay, it was so exciting. But we don't have time for that, either to fight or to wait. So what we're going to do is, when you see any of these enemies in a walking animation, you are actually able to walk past them without triggering the encounter. So that, as you saw, Liin did that flawlessly and walked immediately. He just took his best party and went right to the boss.
The haters out in full force on this comment about multi-parties.
Yeah, I realized that, so I'm going to pause my fight now, too. I was wondering if I was going to do that, but... Yay, party fight. Oh, Near trolling us here.
Alright, so it looks like we're about to start the martial fight here. Kind of the main goal of this fight is have the two middle Mughals fight the wolves. Have the top and bottom Mughal attack the marshal and get the mithril pike off of Mog. If this doesn't happen for some reason, there are backup strats, but they're kind of annoying to pull off, so you really want to get that mithril pike off.
Yeah, you definitely do. If you can take the shield off too, that's definitely handy, but not as really useful and almost required as the pike. So also, thank you for the subscription, Couch23. The channel definitely appreciates it.
RPG dead.
RPG dead.
However.
So looks like KwehstopherWarken should hopefully be through shortly. Oh, just learned at dot, so that is exactly what we wanted to see. So that means he does not have to fight anymore. He just needs to make his way to the cutscene. And now that I've synced my streams, I should not be hugely ahead. You're welcome. But chat, let me know if I am. We can delay even more.
So of course, L saves T. A story that makes so much sense, and they are off to a castle for some reason.
Perfect. It would appear that I'm mostly synced here now, so yeah. So you will notice when you're on step route, as Liin is, there is a pretty particular walking you have to do, but especially when you're on the world map, because there are certain tiles which are no encounter tiles. Not only will you not get an encounter on those tiles, but the step counter won't increase on those tiles. So the particular route on the overworld map is pretty particular to make sure they hit as many of those tiles as possible.
Yeah, it's like the corner of the light green and green tiles, basically. And
yeah, exactly.
it's about working the threat counter down. Those squares do not increase the threat counter at all.
Yeah. So for as long as you're on step route, they know exactly where they are going to get the encounters. Places like inside Figaro or towns, the step counter, it doesn't increase whatsoever. So if you are still not quite good at navigating Figaro, as I'm sure many of us are not, you have some leeway. At least it won't affect your step route there.
All right, looks like we're about to find our boy E. E is going to be... Or B? His name is B?
I name him B, so I get BLT.
BLT Bannon. Okay.
Bacon. Yeah.
Well, anyway, here comes E, and he's the king of Figaro and the source of the main damage source for most of this run. I feel like.
Yeah, he is.
For Ultros and Kefka.
Him and his brother are definitely the two powerhouses of this run. And we got L at the same time, which is nice.
So yeah, Liin's about to enter pretty much like a 6-minute stretch here where he's walking around the castle, activating cutscenes and doing cutscenes and holding and pushing A lot.
And more cutscenes.
Whereas KwehstopherWarken, it should be interesting to see if he has figured out how to skip these little mammoth fights or not.
Yep. It can be not so easy the more each of those you fight. So here's hoping. I find one of the hardest parts of Figaro is to not just sit and keep mashing at the matron, because she talks for quite a while. So once the cutscene's done, you're like, oh wait, I've just been talking to her, and that was all extra text. Darn it.
See, my problem with the cutscenes are when they abruptly stop and expect you to start moving again.
Yeah, exactly. Those two. You're just like, I'm just sitting here. Don't worry about it. Wait.
You're like, hey, isn't Tara supposed to talk to that guy? Oh, I have to actually get her out of the bed.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we just named E's brother S. So we now have the twin powerhouses.
Oh boy, this is...
And she gets to totally walk back. What just happened?
Doing the scramble defense here for KwehstopherWarken.
I'm not quite sure. Oh, that's... But hopefully this is I think this will be one of the only ones he has to fight. We'll see. But the problem with these multi-party fights is not only do you have to worry about dodging enemies, you do have to get to the boss in enough time. Otherwise, these enemies that are walking will hit your party in the back, which is extraordinarily bad, generally speaking. Though he did make it to the boss, so that is happy.
Yeah, the Vo Mammoths can actually do a lot of damage if you don't kill them in those fights too, because they cast Blizzard, which does like 40 to 50 to pretty much everybody in the party.
Yeah, exactly. But on Liin's screen, we have been introduced to our antagonist. If not for the game, certainly for this run, and we all know he also is for the game. So let's see if he gets the staring contest. Oh, he did not. So one of the fun things you can do, since this is a total maze of cutscenes, is we amuse ourselves with little things, little silly tech we can do. And one of the things you can do if you have the frame perfect inputs, or a couple of frame inputs, is you can make those two soldiers stare at each other after you've spoken to them.
It's clearly the most important thing to do in Figaro. So
definitely is. And attempting to race lock. Even though he has clear teleportation skills, which I think should have been banned.
Although if you do this in the randomizer and you have sprint shoes, you can't beat him here.
You can, or?
Uh-huh. It's possible.
Nice. Why? Why do we not have sprint shoes?
Because we need to get them later. It's a major plot point, Natara. Geez.
Fine.
Well, look.
Fine.
Do you really want the guy at the relic shop to feel useless because he can't tell you that he bought the shoes and run into something? The wall, I think?
Yes, I want him to be as useless as the Chocobo guy who is so bored he insists on explaining Chocobos to you. You can beat him in the PS1 version? That's kind of magical. I wonder, did they change the programming, or does that have a built-in dash? Either way. So Warken is now just making his way out of Narshe. So he will soon be joining Liin in Figaro.
Yeah, it's a mere like 6-minute difference at this point.
Yeah. Is that all?
Yeah,
So turns out Kefka was not too happy that that Edgar was not particularly helpful, and so lit his stone castle on fire, which is fairly impressive, I think.
See, I feel like the fire was an illusion the entire time.
Yeah, it's not really there.
That's nice preemptive for Kwehstopher, at least. Those things can be kind of dangerous.
Yeah, they definitely.
The monsters
can.
in the sand, they can stun you, I think.
Yeah, they can. They're very nasty. So, but E here is just like, no, we're not sticking around. We're taking the girl and leaving. And oh wait, I have a castle that can submerge himself in sand. Take that. So
it's perhaps the most helpful and plot relevant example of that castle's existence.
Yeah, it really is. At least in this run.
I'm just trying to think of what other possible uses they could have for this, but
not in this run, but in main runs, it transports you across the continent.
No, I'm not talking about the run. I'm talking about just in general. Like, we have built this castle that goes under the sand because reasons.
Hey, being able to transport's great. So we have our next boss battle here, and luckily, now that we have our powerhouse that is E, a lot of these fights become incredibly easy because he comes with the auto crossbow, which is a multi-party attack, which does quite a bit of damage. So just 2 attacks from him ends this fight and defeats the 2 Magitech armors. For those of you who are familiar with the cutscene, the magic cutscene you can get, we avoid that for obvious speed reasons. And you actually have to make sure not to use any magic between here and until you reach South Figaro, because even in South Figaro Cave, if you use magic at all, it will trigger the same cutscene.
Magic?
Magic? As amazing as amazing as that cutscene is, unfortunately, it takes like a minute and a half, so we don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, they do not.
Unless they're playing casually, in which case you should make time for it. It's a fun cutscene.
Yes, I love it. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite cutscenes, in fact. So we're once again, a lot of the theme of this particular run is convincing Terra to try and help you without actually convincing Terra to help you. They're like, we're not telling you what to do, but we're really highly implying what you should do. So as soon as you get a chocobo, you just move a little bit and head right to the South Figaro cave and immediately get off because you want to go through this cave. And as we mentioned earlier, there is quite a lot of experience routing in this run. And one such thing is fighting most if not all of the battles in this cave. Which almost all of them, except for it looks like, yeah, those Blearies, are one of the only things which can't just be one shot every time by the auto crossbow. So you always have Edgar attack first and then have Locke and Terra ready to attack just to finish off any stragglers.
Yeah, this will be the auto crossbow show until we find a Genji glove or E, our boy.
Yeah, exactly. And then we do even more damage. Wow, I have never seen Blearies hang around that often.
Yeah, they have. I think they have like exactly 119 HP, so he's got 2 rolls that were left with 1 HP so far.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely knew it was possible, but you definitely don't see it super often, except for apparently when you have Liin's luck. But that's okay again. Even the ones that are left over, you've still got your party ready to fight, so it's quite trivial. So when it comes to walking on the world map, we mentioned earlier it is pretty precise. And this walk to South Figaro is one of the worst because there's a few different spots you're trying to hit, and it's not straight lines. You're kind of just walking in a wave, as it were. Not very fun. And making sure to pick up our sprint shoes, which are going to be incredibly useful, not just for the speed factor, well, mostly just for the speed factor, but we use them for many different characters and situations throughout the run. So we make sure to have enough money to pick up 3 of them once we get to South Figaro.
If you want to know a cool little tidbit about what Liin did in that room, he actually was holding A before he got to the shopkeeper, and then pushed left, which is why he was still looking up while he talked to the shopkeeper.
Yep.
Kind of just like a cool little fact about this game is if you're holding A or walking into something, you talk to them on basically the first possible frame.
Yeah.
So that looked cool.
Incredibly useful speed tech for this run. Now on Mount Colts, the basic strategy for fighting with the experience routing is if it's inside the cavey dark area, you don't fight it, and if it's outside, you do. It goes into more detail than that, but if you're on step route, that's certainly how it works out. There's a few battles at the end you may be able to skip if everything else works out fine. So walking off the path here a little bit to pick up this chest, which contains an Atlas armlet, which we will be immediately equipping in order to increase Edgar's strength, I think it is. Either way, it also increases his auto crossbow attack damage, which is fantabulous.
Either way, as long as it does more damage, who cares what it increases?
Exactly,
pick it up.
Right?
Just pick it up.
Pick it up and equip it. I used to pick it up for the first few runs I did and not equip it. People are like, why did you not equip that? I'm like, I'm supposed to? And it was right in the notes. Guys, read the notes carefully. Just saying.
What are notes?
Right? So what Liin did there as part of the experience routing is he purposely got Locke to run away in that battle, meaning he missed out on that experience, but that both E and T got more experience. So by doing that, other than 2 battles on the last area in here, I should be able to get at the specific levels we're looking for, which is E, L, and T respectively, being at levels 10, 9, and 8. That will give an average of level 11 for when Sabin joins, so he will join with Aurabolt, which is another incredibly useful ability. Yeah,
that might be the most powerful attack you get in this run, actually, now that I think about it.
I think it probably is. And the Sabin advises that the magic cutscene is apparently 40 seconds. That's nice. Good to know. I do know the Gao cutscene is 1.5 minutes. I timed it. It's really long. So these Trilliums are generally fairly easy to kill, but unfortunately they have an attack called Bane Touch, which can inflict poison on your characters, which is incredibly not very nice, as we're trying to maximize the amount of MP that Terra has, and she is our only source of antidote at this point, and walking around with poison on is really not even an option.
Boy, Liin Z is not playing nice today. Didn't even kill the little Trillium there.
Yeah.
Just out for low damage rolls.
Yep, so KwehstopherWarken threw his Magitech armor fight, so he will shortly be on his way to South Figaro Cave. What do you mean there won't be a train suplex? You can prove nothing.
You can suplex the train? Is that true?
What? So as you see, Terra did get poisoned, but basically as long as she has a 20 MP by the time he reaches Vargas, that is enough for the battle. But any less than that, and she will come up short.
Has he run away at all yet?
Isn't that what?
Has he run away at all yet?
I haven't seen him run away, but that doesn't mean he hasn't. Locke just gained a level, so I think he's good now?
Yeah, he should be good now. By the routing of this seed, you can run away from 2 of those Cyprius battles.
Yeah, and I think you get one just before.
Or, I'm sorry,
For
trillion
Vargas,
battles.
yep.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is. Oh, an unfortunate poison right there on Terra. He might just keep it? No, he gets rid of it, so... Didn't need to fully cure because the HP levels for his party were high enough for the Vargas fight.
No, Questopher, no, that's not the right way.
Oh no, I didn't see what direction you went.
That's the wrong direction, man.
Yeah, the wrong way. So this Vargas fight is generally Terra attacks with fire, Edgar attacks with the auto crossbow, and once they've both attacked once each, you put Locke in the front row using row. Delaying this action means you're more likely to have the Aipus, at least one of them dead, if not both of them dead, before they get a chance to attack him, and from the front row he will be able to do more damage, which is something we definitely want. So that is just the general strategy here, and we attack Vargas until we trigger the cutscene that we're looking for. There is some tech, I believe, for trying to manipulate avoiding the Doomfist attack he does, but I am not sure actually what that strategy is. I just YOLO it and hope for the best.
Well, generally speaking, you're supposed to look at his first attack and figure out the ATD.
Gotcha.
I don't have it offhand, so
No, I don't
it's
either.
not down pat for me yet. But yeah, basically he's looking at the first attack of Vargas and trying to decide what the best course of action would be to get to that Doomfist skip.
Yeah, well,
And sometimes you just can't get it, and that's fine too.
Oh, absolutely. So we'll see what happens here now. Thankfully, this is not he has to do anything, do a whole bunch of attacks to kill Vargas. All he has to do is one specific blitz, which is pummel. It is left, right, left is the input, and the battle ends.
Vargas is extremely jelly of S.
Toad's jelly. So, Sabin is just too good for words.
Casual
Vargas.
3111.
Casual, that's him. He's got a lot of gold splits, I'm noting. Which is beautiful considering his PB is 125.42, so we'll definitely have to see how the rest of the run goes. So, Mr. Warken is also on Mount Colts now, so making his way through, though poor Terra's taken some hits. That's a bit dangerous, yeah. He's probably going to make sure to cure up.
Ouch.
Yeah, definitely safe thing to do at that point. He's got far too much of the mountain left to go to try and yellow that.
I'm surprised he didn't use a potion there, but I guess he can just use a sleeping bag at the save point if he has to.
Yeah, exactly.
So Liin's going to go right out the store here. He'll be at the Returner's hideout very shortly after, I think, one battle on his route. And then more cutscenes.
Yep, lots of cutscenes, though not quite as bad as some of the other areas. Definitely better than my least favorite area. But, one of the things which you have to be careful of, and the reason he's saving here in front of the Returner's hideout, is once you get inside, he talks to one of the returner guards who automatically guides you through. And there's an NPC who's walking in the way who could literally be in that guard's way. So the guard can't move, you're automatically following, so it will soft lock the game. So it is a very common strategy to save in front just in case, because you don't want to lose your run to an accidental soft lock.
Yeah, soft lock is very rare, but it can happen.
It is, and it is, I'm not sure if it's completely out of your control, but it is just really not great. So for now, we talk with the leader of the returners, Bannon, who is trying to guilt trip Terra into joining them. Everyone else is like, we're not telling you what to do, and Bannon's like, no, I'm telling you what to do.
Chad bringing up a good point that Questopher does not have his characters in the back row, so part of the reason why his Terra is taking a lot more damage than you would expect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of manipulation of when people are in the front and back row in this run to minimize damage on your characters and maximize damage on enemies where it's relevant. So really good Edgar placement there. You have to talk to a few different NPCs in the Returner's Cave in order to progress the plot, and Edgar likes to stand and wander around. So sometimes he can be a bit out of the way, but really great placement there for Liin. Oh, I think he's doing there's a couple ways you can go through this. Either way, we want to say no to Bannon at least once. And if we do that, we are looking to get the Genji glove. And so he said no to him twice, and he has to go into this room to get some items. And by doing that, if you can talk to the other guard in there, and he will give you the Genji glove without having to talk to Bannon the 3 times. Though I believe there is an extra cutscene that happens this way. And Mr. Warken's stream has died, so...
Rip.
Yeah, let me just check IRC. He has not forfeit, so I'm assuming it's just technical difficulties, and we'll see him back soon. It's hard to troubleshoot technical difficulties while also doing the run.
Liin having a doing that strategy, trying to save. I think it's like 13 frames or something.
I thought it was like 7. Either way, it's not a lot of frames. If you do it correctly, you save 7 to 13 frames, and if you don't, you lose like 10 seconds.
Easy every time.
Yeah, well, when you're Liin, it is. Okay, looks like. Well, I have KwehstopherWarken's stream up, but it appears to be paused. Oh, it's 7 frames. Okay. Nice.
My apologies for doubling the game. I wanted to believe so bad.
Right. Thank you so much for the 100 bits, Epic Ranger. So making sure to put Bannon in the back row here. He is very squishy, and if at any point he dies, that is it. It is automatic game over. So you want to make sure he takes as little damage as possible. Now you see Liin is doing a few different resets. This is to purposely manipulate the river he is about to go on. There are 9 possible encounters which you can get on the river, and by doing the manipulation that he's doing, he is ensuring that he only gets the first mandatory 2 battles and will get no other battles. It's really quite beautiful. You only need to manipulate the river once to know that you will never not manipulate the river in the future.
Yeah, if you've ever played this river unmanipulated, you know that you can get a full 2 minutes or so worth of encounters if you're unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly. And you can run away from the encounter, so that is exactly what is happening here.
So we'll see if Liin wants to do the crossbow fight. It's kind of optional, but it does boost E's damage output.
Looks like he is.
More helpful in a longer category, but still has some use here against Ultros and Kefka.
Yeah, making the rest of the party run away like we did at the beginning of the run to ensure that only E gets the experience, which will bring him also to level 11. So like Rivers mentioned, increasing his damage output, which is super useful. We really want that. So those are his 2 fights. So we're going to have a nice, wonderful stroll through the river. The important thing is to make sure you select left both times. You're given a directional choice. Otherwise, you risk more encounters and wasting time.
So there's Kwehstopher taking on... Ooh,
yeah, and Terra is dead again. He has his characters in the front row, so he is taking more damage than he should be, which is really quite bad at this point in the game. I really hope his stream was down when he was at the save point. I'm very much so hoping he saved.
I'm just going to say rut and row.
Yeah. For sure. See, he may not even realize he's supposed to be in the back row. Now Now it is time for Liin to do my most favorite boss fight, which is the fight with Ultros, best character in the game. So he is a bit of a not very nice boss at times, but he is another one of the bosses that you can get a really nice quick kill on. So by manipulating again the attacks. So you want to dodge as many of Ultros' attacks as you can because he can very quickly take out your party, especially at the low levels they're at. And again, if Bannon dies, insta-death. So not ideal.
Kwehstopher has fallen.
He has. So...
Did he save?
It looks like he has.
Okay, good.
Oh my god, the RPG Limit Break stream is ahead of my Okay, I was gonna say I'll have to refresh mine here. I was gonna say he's still fighting Ultros, but I'm looking at yours and I'm like, he's really not.
That is a sub 40 Ultros kill.
Which I believe is quite excellent. Oh boy.
Don't seem bad. Doesn't seem bad. But yeah, Kwehstopher really needs to macro his characters. That's the main reason that he got killed at Vargas, and that's the main reason he's taking so much damage up this mountain.
See if he sees that. Okay, let us... I'm gonna also sync up all of them, and then I will pause my Liin stream in order to get it back on track. Oh, actually, they're synced up. Nice. Never mind, I don't need to do anything. Things are perfect. So we are picking up Shadow here. Didn't bother to rename him because I think he has a sum total of 3 text boxes, which is certainly not enough to worry about.
Very disappointed that Liin isn't skipping Shadow. I feel like he's letting us all down.
Right? So having Shadow there is not a necessity necessarily, but it is certainly a bit of safety. Not quite sure what Quay did there. It looked like a reset.
I believe he had no way to bring back Edward. Or Edgar, sorry.
Yeah, it was. Oh yes, perhaps Liin will do the thing. Now, Liin is in my least favorite part of the game, which is the Imperial camp. And it's not that there is any particularly terrible thing about the Imperial camp, but it is literally a series of walk a little bit cutscene, walk a little bit more cutscene, do a little bit of a fight, walk a little bit more cutscene. So it's not very exciting. There's a lot of mashing.
I'm going to summer camp, a camp cutscene.
Aw, yeah, and you can come too. So, but we do get a lot of plot exposition if that's a thing you care about in your speedruns.
We sure do.
Alright. Traveris, thank you so much for the subscription. Channel greatly appreciates it.
And we will learn that Counselor Kefka has some weird plans for the end of camp party.
Oh, but they're gonna be the best plans. He's certainly hyped about them. So the Empire is currently in battle with the Kingdom of Doma, as they believe, and they're not wrong, that they gave rise to the Returners movement. So they are Kingdom of Doma is defending itself, and who better to lend his skills than the faithful retainer to the King, Cyan, or otherwise known as C. So
otherwise known as Please Die.
Yeah, he is unfortunately, as cool a character as he is, he's not very useful. He has 1 or 2 very important uses in this speedrun. Otherwise, though, he kind of is more useful dead in a lot of cases. So
he's just very slow, that's all.
He's very slow. So what Liin did there is he made sure to give him sprint shoes, which will be useful a little later. But more importantly, is he changed the battle speed back to 1, which will speed up the enemies. And the reason for this is he is taking advantage of the absolute power of the retort sword skill. And because you need to wait to be attacked for that to be useful, as it is a counterattack, we want the enemy to attack as soon as possible. So he will leave that speed there. until theoretically he has to kind of bump heads with Kefka a couple times, which are trivial to put it mildly, and before his next real fight. And it's not until after those that he will need to change that back, as Kefka being you're gonna see he's gonna look just like your characters, no fancy special arts, so he is not affected by battle speed in those fights. But we gotta get through some more cutscenes to see that, so let's enjoy General Leo, guys.
Hey, a camp cutscene. You gotta see the cutscenes, man.
Gotta see the cutscenes. And yeah, Liin's menuing is so beautiful. I love watching it.
Of course, General Leo is the leader of the blue team. Gets a letter from his parents saying he has to go home, which means he has to turn over blue team to Kefka for red team, and this does not go well.
Kefka doesn't like to share at all, ever. And he loves playing with nasty chemicals and experimenting with the drinks. Don't leave a guy like Kefka in charge of your drinks, guys. Even if he offers you especially if he offers you the purple Kool-Aid.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Purple stuff is great, but don't do it.
Purple drink is great, but don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
So, is KwehstopherWarken, does he have no MP?
I don't know if I'm assuming he has no MP. I believe he was using his MP in order to heal. However, he has done enough damage to trigger Vargas into his next scene, and Sabin has been summoned, so he is essentially through that fight, which is excellent. I'm sure he is very happy right now to be through that. But now we gotta have some fights with Kefka, and this is literally whole day to win. You just need to hit Kefka once at all, and he laughs at you and runs away. So we do this twice before he says, "Don't do it again, or I'll send someone nasty after you." And yeah, we're not particularly threatened by that either, but there's definitely some equipment stuff we want to do, which is more specifically take away Shadow stuff and give it to Sabin, because Sabin is our powerhouse here, and Shadow's just our backup. So, getting a preemptive on this fight too, very nice.
Did you know that I am not a waiter?
Really?
And neither are you.
Wow, I'm shocked. So the strategy here is you just want to general attack the front two soldiers, and the Templars, you do a blitz against one and throw that air lancet that was picked up in the returner's hideout at the second one. And then we hear the best music of the camp. It is the camp theme. Everyone always gets a little worried when they hear that, because it means it's time for Kool-Aid. We don't like Kool-Aid.
We don't?
No. Not Kefka's Kool-Aid.
Well, Kefka just mixes it funny, you know?
Yeah, really funny.
Those purple guys all just... the purple clove guys in Doma Castle just really got tired at the same time.
Yeah, that's it. That's completely all that's happening. So yeah, it turns out Kefka does not believe in the honorable rules of war or battle, and he sees an enemy who is in his way and wants to kill them in the best way possible, so he just poisons the river. He doesn't care about his own soldiers, who were also going to be killed doing that. He just wants his enemy dead, and he has pretty obviously succeeded, except for these two. So Cyan now is like, oh darn, best protect. We've got to check if our king's still alive.
KwehstopherWarken, a mere 16 minutes behind.
Yeah, and he's fighting some encounters. Oh, he may have got one encounter on the way out. He's not on a step route, so on the bit of grass on the way out, there is a chance for an encounter there. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that party either. Oh, it looks like somebody's poisoned. So we're gonna see a lot of scary map things, which could actually, I hope he saves, because whoever it is who's poisoned could take a lot of hits. Oh, actually, he's totally fine. He didn't get a single encounter, and then he walked out. Why did he walk out? Oh, he's saving. Okay, cool. That makes sense. So Cyan walked down to check the king, but he was too late. And then he was like, oh goodness, I have a family. And unfortunately, he was too late. And both his wife and son have also died. So, needless to say, he is a little
They're,
tiny bit
they're
angry.
sleeping. They're sleeping.
Yes, sleeping. Because I'm definitely that angry about sleeping family.
I hate it when my family takes a nap.
Right?
It drives me crazy. I just want to get in a rage and then fight people from a camp for some reason.
Which he definitely does. Now, Cyan, unfortunately, is not under your control in these fights. So what we want him to do is we want him to just attack. Nothing special, because it is faster and he does approximately the same amount of damage that we want there. What we don't want is for him to do sword techs like Dispatch, because it doesn't do really much enough damage and it's slow.
Yeah, you can kill these guys with the regular attack, so you don't want to see the extra dispatch animation stuff.
So there are 3 of these fights, and did you know that you could actually walk in between Cyan and the soldiers, and you will get tossed out and have to walk back? So don't do that. I really highly don't recommend it. So
I recommend it. It's
yeah,
fun.
okay. Alright, don't listen to Rivers, guys. He is not on your side in this. Maybe he's part of the Empire.
Well, I did go to Camp Cutscene when I was a kid.
Camp Cutscene. So you happen to have an extra Dirk, which technically belongs to Locke, as he leaves you all of his things when he leaves. But we know, because of the way this speedrun goes, that he is not even going to need it, so better use to throw it at one of the soldiers, which is exactly what Liin did. So with those 3 fights done, Cyan's rage is calmed just enough, and Sabin tricks him into Magitech armor, which is definitely the greatest idea ever.
Yes, I often find that when I meet old people, I should teach them to walk in giant robots.
Right, I think everyone should have giant robot. Team giant robot! So the strategy here now is literally just to leave. You're not in any particular danger, because if you remember from the beginning, Magitech armor are pretty powerful. But one really useful thing can be done here is you can rearrange your inventory during this time, which comes in real handy. You can move items you're going to need in the upcoming part of the run to the top, and move some of the junk items out of the way to make room for other items you're going to be picking up.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of necessary menu maneuvering in this run, but this is a good spot to do it, and it is fairly easy to do, so no reason not to learn that.
And to explain for those who are just joining us, this is the first round of Swiss tournament. So unfortunately, it is just completely random matchups, and we have a really new runner against last tournament's champion. So KwehstopherWarken is doing fantastic. He is doing really well. For anyone who's never done one of these kind of tournament runs before, they are incredibly stressful. So even if you're generally really good at these runs, if you're not used to the stress of the races, things just happen. And even if you're used to the stress of them, sometimes things just happen. So he's doing a fabulous job, so everyone cheer him on. Half of the battle is continuing when you know that things are not going well.
They are definitely not going well, so...
They are certainly not, but he is, like I say, he's continuing on, and he's getting a completed run, and this is his first tournament match for this tournament, and it could be his first tournament match ever. So guys, cheer him on. He's doing fabulous.
I believe he was in a rando tournament or something, but yeah, this is definitely a new run for him, so...
Yeah, exactly, so... we are now in the Phantom Forest here with Liin, and it's filled with fun and excitement. Basically, he's trying to get to the train, and you get lots of encounters on the way, which he is running away from, and trying to avoid those bad encounters. But, you know, there's only so many of those. He doesn't have a choice. Those aren't manipulatable, so, But of course, we show up to a train, and someone decides to let our awesome bodybuilder make decisions, which was the first mistake, and probably at the rate they're going, last mistake these guys are gonna make.
Muscle heads. Hate them.
Yeah, exactly, right? As everyone's favorite boss will tell us shortly. So it turns out that this train, as decrepit and dilapidated as it looks, starts moving as soon as they get on the train. And it is actually the Phantom train, and it is trying to take them to the afterlife, which, for obvious reasons, they are not ready for at all. And yes, there is a schedule. Rivers just posted it, but you can also, if it's been activated, yeah. There's the document.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, come give our runners a follow, guy. They're doing a great job. Oh, apparently I'm the only commentator. You're welcome.
Figures.
So Rivers is a last minute, very welcome addition to the commentary team. This is why these tournaments are fabulous. So, as they progress through the train, turns out all of these ghosts are trying to block their way. Because, of course, the train doesn't want them to leave. You get on the train, there's no getting off. You are headed to the underworld. So if anyone has heard of any no escape runs, this is where it's coined. Because you can't escape. There's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. So, Mr. Warken is making his way through the river. I'm not sure if that was the first or second save point. I'm gonna guess it's the first.
Oh, good. I just learned I'm a commentator now. I can talk again. Hooray.
It was. You're a commentator?
I know,
I'm so
it's crazy.
happy.
Oh,
Made my day.
the joy.
So, along with Saban's great idea of coming on the train, he's like, guys, I got these muscles. I bet I can use them to jump train cars, and it'll look super cool. Thankfully, he was correct on both counts. But
Except the part where he fell down.
Except for the part where he fell down. But, you know, considering what he's working with, he's lucky he got as far as he did. The train kind of is falling apart.
Hey.
But they had to, he had to detract some, separate the train cars because those ghosts, they are persistent. So the strategy here is just run from everything. And you're seeing that when ghosts get in Liin's way, he is not dodging out of their way. He is specifically waiting until they move. And that's because there's really quite a specific step counter in this train. You cannot afford the extra steps it takes to dodge them. What you can afford, though, is to come back into this train car, which we skipped around, and to pick up those earrings. Because potentially little known fact is that Saban's blitzes are actually counted as magic attacks. So in order to make them more powerful, we equip the earrings. And what you just saw there was one of the things we're trying to avoid with step routing, and that's those bombs. Now, he knew that he was going to get a single bomb attack, and that's less dangerous than getting 3 of them. And the reason we're trying to get as few bombs as possible is for that blaze attack that we just saw. It is not very nice. It one-shot poor Shadow. And
I tried to warn Liin not to pick up Shadow, but he did.
Right? He did. Well, that's what happens, man. So he did take a safety save just in case, because he does have a dead party member, and that never goes well. And let's see how this fight goes. See if there's anything cool that goes on here.
Natara, are you gonna comment on the safety save?
No, I already did, man. Love safety saves. And train suplex. So suplex is a really interesting blitz in that there's many enemies which are immune to the suplex, but for some reason a big giant train is not. So to validate our runs, you have to suplex the train, guys. But it is also undead, so then you just need to use a Phoenix down, and that is the end of the Phantom Train.
It's true. I
Back
didn't
to
validate
our...
my run last time, and that's why I died. So
Yeah, it's true story. You must validate your runs, guys. Super important. Gotta get that swag. Also, Ultros is back. I need to comment that. It's very important.
I don't think his Edgar's in the front row. That's a problem.
No, I don't think he is.
Well, his Bannon is in the front row.
Well, that is part of the strategy. You row him to the front row. But Edgar not being in the front row is bad. He can still make it through, but it definitely gets a lot more dangerous.
I'm more worried about the later parts of this, the playing out with him in the front row. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly. So after defeating the Phantom Train, he agrees to let you off, but he says, he's got to make a stop first. And turns out this stop is to pick up the poor, dearly departed from Doma. So needless to say, Cyan is not super happy about that.
Oh, did something happen to people in Doma?
I hear rumors they really did not like the Kool-Aid that Kefka mixed up.
I thought they were sleeping.
No.
No?
No, there's no sleep here. They're taking a perma-nap.
Are you sure the train isn't just taking them somewhere where they can sleep more?
Yeah, forever. They're sleeping somewhere forever. Cyan is very not happy about that for obvious reasons. Now, after this part,
very, very dark, actually.
Yeah, the game is fairly dark. So what you're going to see Liin doing here is he's doing a bunch of menuing and equipping two very important relics there. Both the earrings to increase his damage for his blitzes and the True Knight, which we're going to need for the next fight. And why that's a great time to do that is you have a mandatory wait period there, which continues moving and progressing even while you're in the menu. So rather than just sitting on the platform twiddling your thumbs, it's a perfect time to do that equipping.
Yeah, it's too bad you can't do science equipment there too.
Okay, it looks like we're just starting Sabin's scenario with Mr. Warken.
Well, maybe.
Looks like it to me. I'm gonna...
It's being refreshed on the main screen.
Yeah, okay, good. It was a little behind there. So, equipping his sprint shoes now. Usually we do it earlier, so you don't have to do it. You've just preemptively got it. Now, Liin has jumped down a waterfall because these guys are some thrill seekers. And they're such thrill seekers that they're even going to attack one of their own dudes, because that's how this sort of run goes. But what this is actually a setup, because usually you fall down this waterfall, fight a whole pile of piranhas, and then fight a boss, Rizopaz, at the end, and he's a bit of a pain. But we don't have time for that. So we take advantage of one of the glitches, which is in science programming, specifically around the retort ability. So by killing him, bringing him back, and using retort, and then, which I believe is a physical attack, and then immediately using a physical attack, especially one that misses like that, causes Cyan to just go bonkers, and he just auto attacks, and the game doesn't know what to do with both the physical and the magic attack so quick, I believe is how that works. And so the battle just ends. It's just like, no more piranhas, no boss. Cut to the next cutscene.
My commentary on this glitch is that this game was well programmed.
Like so many of them. Getting a not very nice back attack there on the way down to the Imperial camp for KwehstopherWarken. I can never say that right. I keep wanting to call him Christopher Walken. I love the name though. Makes me giggle.
This is part of the reason why you want to do the seed manipulation if you can, because the encounters in this area of the game are actually much more dangerous if you don't.
They really are. So we have been found by the boy who is the name of this tournament. This is Kefka at Narshe 2. Wherefore art Gao? And you're about to potentially see the reason. We need to recruit Gao in order to continue going. And unfortunately, it is a random chance, a 5 out of 8 chance of him showing up at the end of eligible battles. So the strategy here is to avoid as many battles as possible before we make it to Moblitz and buy the dried meat that we need to recruit Gao. Now, in this pincer attack that Liin has, he is safe to just completely kill the enemies. It's faster than running away, and Gao will never show up after a pincer attack. So the countdown for Gao shows up as soon as we have picked up the dried meat and head back out to the Veldt. So unfortunately, while the battles on the Veldt can be manipulated, whether Gao shows up cannot. So he can really just truly troll you if he's not feeling very nice.
Yeah, I believe it is a 5/8 chance that he shows up.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, I've seen, in the last tournament, I've seen people get like 7th, 8th try, so
yeah,
anything can happen with Gao. It's a major source of RNG for this run.
It is.
Outside of the pincers, basically, like one of the 2 main factors of all of it.
Oh, picking up some safeties there, Liin. Though it could be part of the routing as he does full runs as well, so it might just be habit. Unsure. Either way, nothing wrong with picking them up as he'll have enough money. Curing up his guys, and he has 3 encounters on the world map here, where on his way to his next destination. So ideally, in one of these 3, Gao will show up. And there he is! Like magic. Sometimes it works. So, you like cutscenes?
So he will be sitting here with Gao for 1:30. Is that what you said, Nicole?
Yeah, it's about a minute and a half.
Meanwhile, on the other cutscene, screen,
it's almost time for some Kool-Aid.
Camp cutscenes happening again. So
Yeah.
This is the first time.
So Gao's just having a whole fabulous time here, dancing and just generally having a time.
Just generally Mr. Thowing around.
Yeah, exactly. So thankfully, as mentioned much earlier in the run, you can just hold A to skip through all of this text. So Liin doesn't have to mash through this. He can just sit there holding A, chilling, relaxing, and you can see the text is moving quite quickly. So it is as quick as it can be moving.
Simmer down, sirs.
Simmer. So they're explaining what they're trying to do. Gao explains he's got a shiny. They're like, welp, might as well. Let's go check it out. We've got nothing better to do.
Can anything be that shiny, though?
Gao seems to think so. And who are we to not believe him? He's just a random, boy we've met out here in the middle of the wilds, dressed in animal skins.
It seems legit.
Totes legit. And hey guys, you tell me to wait? Do I look like a waiter to you? I totally paraphrased because YOLO. Guys, get your kappas ready.
That's true, there will be kappas, won't there?
Got our kappa, yo. Yes, there is a reason the scenarios are done in this order. Specifically, we're doing Sabin's scenario first in order to get smoke bombs. So in both Locke and Terra's scenario, they will be able to run away from absolutely every encounter.
Yeah, the encounters in Locke and Terra, Edgar, etc. scenario are much harsher because with Locke, you're only going to have the one party member. And the other one, if Bannon gets pincered or something, you can die really easily. So
yeah, so we definitely want to take advantage of that. So all of the scenarios need to be done anyway. So yeah, we pick Sabin's first in order to get those items. I'm not sure if there is a particular reason in the order to which we use, because we do locks and then Terra's scenario. But if someone knows the reason why we do lock and then Terra's scenario, please let me know. It may just be preference that looks really cool because you show up to Narshe and then the cutscenes start in Narshe, but there's probably an actual reason I'm just unaware of. Oh my god, is that a Santa Kappa? Oh my goodness. Kappa class. I'm so excited.
Can't believe that Liin's about to set the world record with all these safety saves.
Right?
Amazing.
That's what he does, man. So it turns out Gao's shiny is a helmet, which will allow them to breathe underwater. So these three dudes, all three of them, we do not question the mechanics of that. In the meantime, time for more naps. In Doma, they're super tired. So yeah, they are on Liin's screen. They're hopping into the river. Now, unfortunately, there is little to no manipulation that can be done for the river. So you're just kind of hoping and praying that Cyan dies. Because as mentioned, so at the beginning we mentioned that each character in this game has an individual run gauge that they have to fill up before the characters are able to run. And they're actually very variable sizes. Locks being the smallest because he's a thief, he runs. He's a treasure hunter and he runs. And Cyan, being the honorable knight that, samurai that he is, has the longest. So that makes him quite slow to run away unless you get these absolutely fabulous preemptive attacks that Liin's getting. So he's done the first half of the trench. Now just has to navigate the second one. So yeah, Cyan being dead definitely helps for the running away on those non-preemptive fights.
You know, Natara.
You know, Rivers.
I'm starting to believe that Liin could win this game.
I always believe that Liin can win this game, and then he gets a pincer. But I still think he can do it. So the unfortunate thing about pincers is that unless you have a smoke bomb, you do have to defeat one side of the enemy of the battle to be able to run away. So obviously you tend to pick the side with the least amount of enemies. In order to use Gao though, all of his attacks are automatic once you pick his attack set. So he kind of just attacks who he wants. You are not the boss of him.
That was a really effective jinx. Couch 23 now owes me money.
Why does he now owe you money? Can he owe me money?
He's keeping the world record, obviously.
Oh yeah.
No, he probably. We don't know yet. But
yeah, we'll definitely see.
That was really unfortunate that the 3 preemptives had the 1 pincer in them.
It probably balanced out, honestly, rather than being truly terrible. So Liin is just about at the end of this scenario. All he has to do is perhaps buy a pike. Yeah, it looks like he is doing the pike buying strategy, which will save him from dodging Mughals in Terra's scenario, and picking up the ever-important smoke bombs, and trying to dodge this annoying kid. Yeah, he did what I wish I did some runs, and that's getting out of dodge. Also, this dude... He just, wow. I have probably never seen trolling quite that bad in Nakia like this. They really did not want him to leave. I didn't.
This is gold.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Water Gao. Okay, I see your joke. It was lovely. So next up, again, as we've pretty much determined, there's no real difference between doing Lock and Terra next, but the general strategy is to do Locks next, because I think it's the next most technical, so you just kind of want to get it out of the way.
There's tech in this scenario?
What? So we're equipping him with things because we like him to not die. Generally, he gets put in the second position, but maybe that'll be done later. And we're out. We're done. We decided we don't want to have anything to do with South Figaro or the supposed general in the basement. She's fine on her own. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
so
deuces.
Yep, Locke is treasure hunting his way out of there. So what just happened there is, as you saw, obviously, a way to clip past the guard, where if you time it just correctly and buffer the right input from the menu, you can just walk right into the guard and clip right past him. So there's no clothes changing or fights or sneaking or any of that. There's just, I'm done in here, out. So the question becomes, how is Locke, by his little lonesome, going to beat the boss at the end of this cave? Because I don't know about you, but I don't see any partner with him. No general of any sorts who has abilities which make it that you don't get destroyed in the next fight?
Well, if your main thought was, like mine, of course we're going to glitch Runic onto Locke, you'd be wrong. Because actually it's going to be much faster than that.
Much faster. It's one of those things that even if you go through and get Celeste, I don't know why anyone would not do this all the time. It is such a beautiful strategy, which I was not even aware was a thing.
Who or what is Celeste?
It's a mythical character I keep hearing about and have not yet really seen, and it's too bad because she sounded like she was pretty darn cool, but alas, we don't get to see her. She remains the myth.
I'm not even familiar with that name. Is that
right?
Is that something that happens in like a different Final Fantasy?
Definitely not this one, that's for sure.
Oh, it's Nirm's Final Fantasy 14 character, of course.
Ah, gotcha. So, Locke apparently has a ghost with him. He stole it from the Phantom Train, borrowed it from Saban there, and he's going to use that Thunder Rod that he just picked up and completely one-shotting the boss. So the rods do the second level of Thunder, or the spell that they have, plus completely bypass the magic defense of the enemy. So we don't need no ghost partner or mythical Celeste person. We just skip right on by.
I've got good news. KwehstopherWarken is out of Camp Cutscene.
Yeah, into the Phantom Forest. So we're gonna wish him luck on some encounters here. He's not on a step route, so that makes the Phantom Forest and the Phantom Train particularly dangerous for him.
Stray Cat Beam is alive, though.
Yeah, that is certainly true. So we are back on the river for Liin, and that was incredibly dangerous. What just happened? Bannon just took a hit for 95, and that was a bit scary. But, so they're back on the river and back with everyone's favorite Bannon. So the rules remain the same. If Bannon dies, rip run. But we also have smoke bombs now, which makes it a lot faster to get through.
Hey, that's probably why I picked up the smoke bombs in the first place.
Right? So yes, this is an intro category, and it ends at Kefka because it makes it a much better, more accessible category for learners. A lot of the RPG speedruns out there have these sort of intro categories, which again, it's just a part of the game, so you can learn it and either get used to speedrunning or the particular game in question. And they're really quite great, and if you find you're liking them, then it's much easier to segue into a full category that way. And also much shorter for tournament purposes. This run is approximately an hour and a half to 2 hours long, so definitely much more runnable. Speaking of running, that's something that Bannon is doing a lot of.
Pump those crazy legs, Bannon.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, they are going to continue to smoke bomb everything they come across, unless there's a preemptive, and then they may just run, because might as well when you've got a preemptive. It's generally faster, I think, to just run when you've got a preemptive.
Yes,
it
is.
Yeah. So we have a security system here where the strategy is supposed to be that you follow that white light through the path it walked through, and you won't hit the security system. So if you walk off the path, you get surrounded by lights and have to tag the correct one, which sounds really challenging, but it turns out if you press and hold A when you walk off the path, then it would automatically, the first frame available for it to target anything, will target the correct light. So we just follow the path up into the point where we are closest to the door and just leave. We don't have time to walk through that path. It's excessive and annoying.
So yeah, this is just about over actually.
Yeah, we are really quickly approaching the end of the run for Liin. He is almost done the scenario he is in, and that culminates with all of the characters coming back together and heading to the last fight. So I am very happy that KwehstopherWarken just got a preemptive on that bomb, because again, those bombs are terrifying. So we don't want to get them at all. Oh, okay, good. He started to try and walk through it, and you're like, no, talk to the ghost, but he's good. I think side attacks might be decently fast to run away from too. I don't know whether they're faster or not than the smoke bombs.
Good job, Christopher. Get back in there, fight that ghost.
Nice.
Oh boy, the pincers.
Yeah, the reason the step routing is an inherent advantage, because Rivers answered you already that yes, it is an advantage, but it is so because you know where your encounters are and what they're going to be, so you can account for that. You know what your strategies are going to be, and it routes out most, if not all, of the really terrible, scary encounters that you can get. It doesn't already account for things like pincers, unfortunately, or preemptives. Those are still completely up to luck, but it definitely makes things much more, much easier.
It's not only the number of encounters, but also the ease of encounters.
Exactly, yeah, it's definitely incredibly worth it. And unlike some other games, it is really quite easy to set up the step routing in this game. Plus, pretty decently easy to follow it, because other than the world map, which has specific paths, you're just following the shortest route. So it's not too bad in order to follow. Plus, as long as you just set up the step route at the beginning, even if you don't succeed at following it, you're set up to do the river manipulation once you get to the river, and for that reason alone, it's worth it to set up the step route at the beginning.
Yeah, that just saves you like 2 to 3 minutes right there, depending on what kind of encounters you would have gotten.
Yeah, exactly. It is quite beautiful. And again, you only need to do the river manip once after having not done it a bunch to know you never want to not do that. So, KwehstopherWarken making sure to do a safety save here, which I believe is a fantastic idea. He is not on step routes, so and has limited curative items, so hopefully can get through here a-okay.
Yeah, hopefully. You know, Natar, I'm starting to believe that Liin might win this race.
I think it is a distinct possibility, but we'll have to see. So, as you note here, Locke now has a friend with him. Our ghost has materialized into a Moogle. And not just any Moogle, this is our good friend General Kutan. And you're wondering why that name is familiar? It is actually one of the Moogles who was in Mog's party that was in the Marshall fight at the beginning of the run. What happens is there's a bunch of character slots, character memory in the game, where they store all of the character data. And at the beginning of the game, other than characters like Terra and Locke, all the rest of the stored characters are Moogles, because they need to put them there in order to use them in that Moogle fight. And every time you come across a new character and name them, it then overwrites that slot with the new character data. However, since we glitched past the guard and did not encounter Celeste, who is now General Kutan, we don't get her icon, she does not get renamed. You cannot actually equip Kutan because Kutan still has the properties of that they did in the Moogle fight, which is an NPC you're fighting with, so you can't equip them, can't put any relics on them. Generally worse than useless, but looks really awesome.
Natar, I've got a follow-up question to that explanation.
I love those.
Who or what is Celeste?
I just don't know.
Why do you keep saying that name?
Because I love it. It just rolls off the tongue, so I gotta keep saying it, even if I don't know who it is. So we're doing a very specific order here, and guys, enjoy that menuing. It's so beautiful.
On screen here.
Yeah. Specters are not nice at all. Those, I believe, are a monster in a box.
Yeah, I'm not
so
sure.
I think he opened a chest.
I'm sure what memeing is going on here, but it is something.
It is definitely not great. So, the strategy here in this Kefka fight or series of battles is rather than just picking the one Mughal thing, we built the party which is the strongest. So that includes Sabin, Edgar, Cyan, and Gao. And again, we're going to walk through dodging these soldiers. Actually much easier than the Mughal fight because there's 2 different waves of soldiers and they just walk out of the way. You don't even have to do any particular dodging as long as you time it correctly.
Is he going to do the thing, though?
There's a spoiler in the chat, which advises me that there is no thing.
Why am I even alive?
Right, so you do have to dodge that that rider, and there is some really funny, really fancy finagling you can do about that. But if it goes wrong, it goes very wrong. So not many people do it. Anyways,
Tara Rider.
And a Tara Rider, who I don't get anymore, but for the first like 10 runs I did of this category, every single time without fail I hit the rider. Don't do that, guys. It is the worst. So the strategy here in this fight is Sabin or Bolt. You pick either Exocyte or Hornet for Gao. Looks like we've picked Hornet here for Liin. Cyan does Dispatch, and we have our nice Genji Glove on Edgar. And if done correctly, and with a little bit of weight tricking, we hopefully do not get Kefka's 3rd turn, which is at risk of being a full party Ice 2, which is absolutely devastating. Now, time on this run ends as soon as you hear the runaway noise for Kefka, which we will hear in mere seconds.
He got Bolt. Quite fortunate there. He was a little behind the ATB at the start because Sabin's ATB was so poor.
Yeah, so Liin has finished with an official SRL time of 1:25:09, an absolutely fantastic run and time. So really great for Liin, and it looks like KwehstopherWarken is done with the train. I did not catch whether he suplexed it, but it looks like he got the incorrect blitz input. Guys, he tried to suplex the train, so as far as I'm concerned, his run is valid. Let's give it to him. There are plenty of people who don't even try. Those are the invalid runs, but sometimes the train just says no.
I don't know anybody who would skip that.
I've seen people in this tournament skip it.
I've seen people on this commentary team. People in this tournament. Yeah, that's right.
What?
They have skipped it before. It's true.
Yes, Rivers. So, excellent job to Liin. Fantastic run. GG's for sure. And we have Mr. Warken still going, but he is getting through.
That's true. He's about to equip, get this equip going for Sabin, where he'll put on the True Knight and the earrings. The True Knight, of course, protects all party members, because that's how they spelled it.
That is correct. So yes, there is an optimal sequence for the 3 mini-stories in that we need to do Sabin first in order to buy smoke bombs, and the other 2, it's technically by choice, but generally we do Locke and then Terra. At least in this run.
Let's see what Buster wants to do here. There's no pressure on him anymore. He can just play however he wants, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he'll throw us a bone and do the Terra scenario first.
Yeah, maybe. So, doing a little bit of running before doing his equipping, but again, I don't know if he picked up the earrings. I didn't see them there.
He may have been looking for them in the other chests. That may have been why he ran to the Spectre. He may have forgotten where they actually were.
Yeah, so he did not pick those up, so that's going to be a bit of a downside because Sabin is not going to be doing quite as much damage. But at least he does have the True Knight, which is truly important for the upcoming fight here. And let us see, the schedule can be found, if I can spell correctly there. I've linked it in the chat. Let's get some sound going here. There is no sound. Sound is an illusion. But I believe there is another race coming up at 7:30. it is also going to be here. All the races tonight are going to be on RPG Limit Break, so do make sure to stay tuned. There are many good races happening tonight, so it should be a night filled of Kefka.
Hopefully he doesn't haunt anybody.
Yeah, so Nirm says he's here forever. That's what he's here for. That's why he's the boss. So let's see how Mr. Warken does on the Rizzo Pass skip. Choosing to take out, I think... Did he... See if he... Yeah, okay, there we go. Attacking the Piranha. There are many more races on this channel tonight, so I just linked the schedule here in the channel just a moment ago. But there are many races here tonight. All of them here, all of them Kefka and Narshe. 7:30 Eastern is our next one, followed by a double header at 9 o'clock Eastern, followed by yet another race at 11 p.m. So both tonight and tomorrow night are going to be filled with races. So definitely tune in, though keep an eye on the schedule for tomorrow night races. They're going to be in a couple of different locations, so you can pick and choose which races you want to see and which channels you want to go to. But
yeah, the schedule is slammed. That's what happens with the Swiss stuff.
It absolutely does. So me and one of the other restreamers have a plan in mind, so fear not, we're gonna try and get most, if not all of them, tomorrow restreamed, but check the schedule. But for now, okay, so he did not get the clip. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what went wrong, other than the fact something did go wrong. Okay, so we got it. The good thing about this particular glitch is if you miss it the first round, you can still do it on the next set of piranhas and still skip the boss. It is a time loss, but not as much of one as it would have been.
Oh, sure, now he knows how to suplex. I see how it is.
Yeah.
He was stringing us along the whole way. Man, he knew.
That's what he does. He's keeping us up for the excitement so we don't get bored.
So, here comes Gao.
Our beloved Gao, draped in monster hides, eyes shining with intelligence.
How do eyes shine with intelligence anyway? What is that? What gives that away?
Well, according to many points of literature, many things can be seen in the eyes, so,
But what about a you surviving against all odds?
Now you're asking the tough questions. I'm just updating the schedule here for some of the races tomorrow. So unfortunately, when you're not step routing, another thing which can happen, it's why we like to cure Cyan immediately after coming out of that waterfall, because he still only has 31 HP, and this is a common fight you can get, and it is unrunnable, so, and can be really quite nasty. Let's see what we have here.
So I never really like that because I like when Cyan dies. So, I mean, I understand what's happening, but you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately, Gao shows up right away, and he does not have the dried meat required in order to recruit him, so the only way to end that battle, I'm not sure if you can just run away, but best choice is to just hit him and he goes away. But not very great.
I enjoy hitting Gao.
Yeah. Well, it's a little satisfying because sometimes you can get a bit of that rage out of, why did you not show up when I needed you? Why are you showing up now? So picking up the dried meat, so hopefully Gao will play nice and show up for the first battle after this.
That's cute that you told me that.
Yeah, right? I have hope. Oh, not the greatest of fights to get here, because again, those monsters can be not very nice.
Yeah, you're seeing, again, once again on KwehstopherWarken's screen here, you're seeing the dangers of not step routing.
So again, as long as Gao shows up, though, that's the thing. But we'll see. But again, he has the battles up until he gets to the cave, because he has to walk to the cave anyways.
And then he gets to walk back and forth a lot if he doesn't get Gao by then. Because you can't continue the run without Gao, because that would be... Because two characters with one shiny diving helmet makes no sense, but three... That's the ideal number.
Absolutely. Oh, and he gets an M-Tech armor fight. Those are not the greatest thing when you're just poor squishy people like that. Still no Gao, so this is what seems to happen, and I don't know that there's actually any sort of percentage with this happening, but it always feels like when Gao shows up before you're ready and you have to hit him to make him go away, that afterwards it just takes him forever to show up.
Yes, the SNES version is the standard version of the speedruns because it's more easily glitched out, I guess is the best way to put it. And look at this, it's the encounter that Nirm never saw before that's on the belt as well now.
Yeah, that's a really weird encounter. Oh, yeah, unfortunately, those vaporites cannot be suplexed. Oh, and they're doing something, and they slowed Sabin. Delightful! Luckily, dispatched to the rescue. So long as Gao shows up in this battle, he should be not that bad off. No, now he officially needs to grind for battles. So, yeah, not too great.
Yeah, unfortunately, not only has he not exactly played the best, but also he's gotten pretty unlucky as well. Never a good combo.
Now, one thing about this Lobo and guard fight, even though it looks kind of threatening, it is actually faster to just regular attack on these guys because you are strong enough now to just one-shot them. And unfortunately, where it's a pincer, Gao is guaranteed not to show up.
Oh man, he could have learned the stray cat rage. The meme is dead.
The meme is always dead. Hey, it's Gao!
Who?
I don't know. It's someone we've been looking for. And he gave the dried meat. So one of the things which can really happen on this front, unfortunately, when you are learning and getting used to it, is you can accidentally give the dried meat to someone who is not Gao. And that is the worst, because then you only buy one, because you only need one. And then you walk back and have have to go buy another one and cry your salty, salty tears. We have, I want to say we've all, but we've mostly all done that. I know I have certainly done that, and there were definitely salty tears.
And yeah, now for a minute and a half of this.
Yep, lots of blinking, dancing, Mr. Thou, shiny, shiny. Cutscene done!
Kappa, don't forget Kappa.
Yeah, don't ever forget Kappa. Gao dancing. It's what he does. Doing a groove. It's funny, for all that this cutscene is really long, it never bothers me as much as the others. Probably because I can literally just hold A.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great time to take a drink or whatever, but...
It is. It's not enough to leave and have an actual break, because you do need to hold the button, but you can stop focusing for a moment, at least.
Sounds like somebody needs to run paperweight %.
Yeah. If I thought it were a legal move, I would absolutely do so. I promise you that. Kappa, guys. Kappa take 2. Get your Kappas. Kappas. You've got an HD Kappa. Yeah.
Hells yeah.
I agree with the Tella cutscene. Anything with Tella is infuriating, but especially that cutscene. I love all the different Kappas. You guys are fabulous.
Just more tele-hating from ex-FF4 runners.
That's what we
Very
do.
sad to see.
Current FF4 runners, just currently learning a new run. That's all.
Very sad to say.
This is zombie Kappa? Guys, so in Kappa. So it turns out, Gao's shiny that he was bragging about to help you guys is a helmet that all 3 of you are going to squeeze into so you can breathe while going underwater, as apparently that is the best route to get where you're going. Gotta love that river transport. I think I like the raft better. Gao unfortunately is a little scared of the water, but these guys, sensitive dudes that they are, laugh at him and jump to the water. Absolute models of sensitivity and kindness.
Toxic masculinity on display again.
What happens, man? So back into the river, which the trench, as it were, which is again not so much of a bonus because he's not manipulating step routing, but you can't really manipulate it. Unfortunately, starting off with a pincer.
Of course. If Kwehstopher had any kind of good luck, it would be really nice, but unfortunately, just getting owned. On the bright side, we're getting to see a lot of suplexes here, so that's important.
Yeah, he's making up for the one we missed on the train. So, and you might be worried because Cyan's at 3 HP, but actually that is a bit unfortunate because since his HP is that low, Sabin still has the True Knight on, so he's going to defend Cyan rather than letting him die like we want to have happen, because again, oh, he died because Sabin was stopped, but Sabin may also die, which is not quite so good.
Yeah, that's less good.
That is much less good, but yeah, we definitely want Cyan dead because every character has an individual run gauge, which are different sizes, and Cyan's is the longest, so we don't like that at all. So him being dead means we run away faster, but Sabin being dead means lack of safety, so not so good.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing about Sabin being dead is that if you get another pincer after that, you can no longer target anything because Gao, just has rage. He doesn't have a regular fight command.
He does not. So yeah, that's definitely not good. Thankfully, he has Phoenix Downs, which he does not need to save at this point, and bringing back the correct character and doing a bit of healing here. A little slower, but better to make it through. And equipping the black belt, which not a required item. In fact, we usually sell it for extra cash, but it will have Sabin counter instead of protecting. So now that Cyan's dead, there was no real reason to do that at this point, but it certainly doesn't hurt. And a back attack, of course he did.
Well, it's a good thing he healed. I believe he actually went the wrong way then too, right? It's to the left.
Yeah, make sure he has the correct way. I don't even remember what happens when you go the wrong way.
You just have to walk through another set of rooms.
Oh, yes, which apparently is what he did. That is less fun. Wow, that's a long.
Tara, do you want to take a stab at how people can use one dive helmet?
No. Not even that one alone. I don't think I've even ever seen this cave before.
Yeah, there's like a green beret in here or something, I think.
Wow, no wonder no one goes that way. Wow, it's really close to the end, too. DLC cave, yeah. That kid, man, that green-haired kid just loves to get in the way. So because he was not on step route, Mr. Warken has extra money, so he doesn't even need to sell anything. He has enough to buy his pike and his smoke bombs and still have plenty.
Yeah, that is a lot of extra money. I think he fought a couple extra enemies too, which also helps.
Yep, so say there's a bonus to that sort of thing. And again, it's always a shame when runs are not going well, but I'm a big believer that you need the really terrible runs because they really teach you a lot. The more that goes wrong, the more you learn. So it's your path to getting some really great runs in the future. So let me tell you, he is learning a lot, I'm sure. Especially because this is not his first run, so this is learning a lot, and let me tell you, tournament nerves, you cannot underestimate tournament nerves. So he is showing us that you can do these in any order.
Yeah, there's another race at 7:30 Eastern, and after that there will be more at, 9? And then another at 11. So there will be keeping Miriam hostage all night, basically.
Yeah, that's right, we are.
Going Terra second here. How about that?
Yeah.
We're fighting the Pterodons, but screw them.
Sometimes you just gotta fight them. Take those extra levels. Too bad Bannon really doesn't get those extra levels. Since we're getting them anyways, give him a little bit more extra HP.
It's too bad Bannon can't be in the Kefka Narshe fight.
I was hoping he'd get through the river without any more.
There is an escape league category. Wow, I actually didn't know that. How about that?
There's a which category?
Escape Midgar.
Huh. You mean for Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did know that actually.
I didn't know that because I don't pay attention to Final Fantasy VII.
I do. It's one of my future runs. Look for it in like the next 3 years. When I stop picking up other runs. I purchased the game like 3 or 4 months ago just specifically so I can start speedrunning it. Bet you can guess how well I'm doing that.
Whenever I stop joining tournaments and restreaming all the races, I'll get right on that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. So luckily, both Terra and Locke scenarios are really quite short, and in this case, I think Terra's scenario is the longest. Although, did forget to use the smoke bombs, but not necessarily terrible. Also, a lot of the status ailments really have very little effect in this. So he also made sure to equip, it looked like he equipped Edgar there with the, no, I don't think he actually equipped, I think he just checked. He wants to make sure that before he clears out of this scenario, that Edgar is equipped with both of the Mithril Pikes, so he can do max damage on Kefka once he gets there.
See, there you go, Natar. Now he's dropping science in the chat, we know. But
he is, and now you are seeing what happens when you step off the path of the security system and aren't holding A when it happens.
Oh, yeah, FF6 will not be run at 2018 HEDQ. Only some idiot with FF4.
Oh,
Sorry about
some great idiot.
Sorry about that.
Look for that there. It's going to be super exciting. Not that I'm excited for it at all. So every time you do fail the security system, the game is kind enough to show you again where it is. So, but he got it perfect this time. He was just showing us how not to do it the first time. So giving us that prime example and continuing on. Guys, typing is hard. Just so one of the bonuses to using these smoke bombs is that even if no matter what kind of formation the attack comes in, including pincers, you can just use a smoke bomb and escape. It's pretty fabulous. But as we discussed earlier, if you get preemptive for sure, and I think also with a side attack, it is faster to just run away than to use the smoke bombs because your ATB is more full and you will just run away before everyone attacks anyways. Hold on a sec. Is someone saying that the music is louder than Natara?
What?
When does that happen? Ever? It's my one skill, being louder than everything. Okay, so he is just clearing the last little tiny bit of Terra's scenario. So we're actually see where the scenario officially ends rather than watching it all blur together into the end. So we do have one more scenario to go, and that will be Locke's scenario. No goodness, guys, don't start up the which Final Fantasy is better war in chat. Nobody wins that fight. Nobody. Actually, you know who wins that fight? Kefka. We don't want Kefka to win.
I want Kefka to win.
Okay,
He was my cap counselor.
Wow. Except for Rivers, and we don't listen to him.
Clearly.
So, doing a safety save here, of course, better. I am the biggest believer in safety saves. Depending on your skill, like you should always save more than usual in a marathon or race setting in every case. But like the less familiar and safe you feel in a run, the more you should be saving, because if something goes wrong, your run is less killed by doing it. So, it is definitely great. Oh yeah, definitely. Lock scenario is definitely open when you get Phoenix. Unfortunately, hopefully, Mr. Warken will remember that he needs sprint shoes. You can actually do the clip without sprint shoes, but he is attempting to do it with sprint shoes. Oh no. He is apparently attempting to do it the regular scenario. He doesn't know what
sprint shoes.
No, but you can do it without sprint shoes. It's just a little more precise. You can't do it that way. The setup is different, but you can still do the clip.
This is giving me some bad flashbacks.
Yeah. We don't talk about that here. Yeah, you can, again, it can definitely be done, but the setup is different. Because that guard, he walks all the way down to the bottom, but then he will again walk up to the top. So if you just kind of stand in the middle of the row and wait for him to show up, when he's about 2 squares away, you just go into the menu and you can time it and go through. Yeah, so you just wait. No, the right screen is frozen in victory. He has already completed.
Yeah, Kwehstopher doesn't look like he knows what to do, but I mean, I guess probably what's happening is he's just trying to figure out what he's going to do through the chat. So tell him what to do, guys.
What? We're hearing top secret rumors here. Don't tell anyone where they came from. That apparently RPG Limit Break 18 is happening from May 13th to 19th, 2018. And that game submissions will start in about 2 months from now. So for anyone who cares about that sort of thing, put it in your calendars. I hear rumors there's going to be some cool people there and that it's a super fun event.
You know, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I don't think it's happening at all.
Yeah, it's a rumor. Only a rumor, and I'm not sure that we trust the source of this rumor. This Quexel guy looks a little shady.
He's a little sketchy.
A little sketchy.
These are a little tight, but the price was right.
I absolutely adore this scenario. Not just because I love Locke, because he is my favorite player character, but also just because I just liked it. The sneaking around, the switching outfits, equipping this character who is just only rumored.
There's a character here?
Right.
Man, this chat is like full of rumors today.
I know, right?
It's hard to keep up.
There you go. He got it. And we have the added bonus is that he's going to be special outfit merchant lock. Guys, did you expect to have this when you came into this run? I know you didn't, so you're welcome. We planned it just for you guys. Preemptive, how shiny. So it is going to be the same strategy as before, walking through this cave, picking up our super secret item to set our super secret defeat plan. Because Locke, he don't need no friends. Guys, this is your super special bonus for sticking around. That is, the incentive was to get you guys to stay, and you did. Now you
Suckers.
get this, yeah, so now you get this wonderful merchant armor. So that is one of the shiny things you can do. And this actually has been used as donation incentives for runs before, because it's just so fancy. Like, look at him. He looks so slick. So he did go and pick up the Thunder Rod, which we did not pick up earlier. I'm not sure if that's in the chest earlier or whether it's a different item, but it is certainly a Thunder Rod now, and we're going to put it to good use.
It is not the same item
No,
earlier.
and that's what I've been told. I don't know what item it is earlier, but... So, doing a safety potion, which he's got plenty of, but yeah, I don't know if he's conserving his smoke bombs or has forgotten he has them. Needless to say, he's almost to the end, so he's got this. DJ Tifa Heart breaking my heart in the chat.
Wow.
I can respect the lack of swag on that race for the PB. So you know what else? What other donation was fulfilled? Using this Thunder Rod we just picked up? So yeah, as we earlier explained, using the Thunder Rod uses Lightning 2, and which is a more powerful version. Plus, it completely bypasses the magic defense of the boss, so it does ridiculous amounts of damage. So we don't need no other character. And with the 3 scenarios completed, Mr. Warken is at near the end of the run, is at the last section, so it's just our last set of cutscenes and then the final battle.
Yeah, when they were programming this game, they decided that rods needed to skip magic defense because reasons, and for that reason, they are incredibly powerful.
Yes, they are, and I'm not sure if that was even a purposeful one. Or whether that was just, you know, programming.
I believe it's the same thing in FF5 too. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So who's with you? It's just this, you know, really angry samurai and a kid in Monster Heights. Don't worry about it. It's totally normal. And this helmet we've got here with us, just don't even worry about it. It's our present.
I came from Camp Cutscene, and let me tell you, what Team Red did was unbelievable.
Absolutely terrible. And yep, the merchant glitch does carry through. I'm not sure if at some point it goes away, but at least for now it's around. So there's a lot of anger going on. Everyone's meeting everyone. They're like, I hate the Empire. And people are like, but I'm part of the Empire. And they're like, well, I hate you. And they're like, but I'm also the Empire. And you're like, oh my God, things just got really confusing. And everyone is really angry. I just don't even know what's happening anymore.
It sounds very dramatic, actually.
Oh, super dramatic. They definitely try to make it dramatic. So Kefka joins in the drama and brings a whole bunch of friends. He's here to trash the party. He is not happy whatsoever. There's no Celeste in this game. We really don't know why you guys keep mentioning her, or why I keep mentioning her. We have General Kutan, who is not some love-starved twit, thank you.
What is a Celeste? What is a Celeste? Celeste?
So, yeah. Don't know. So all of the character information is stored in the memory, and it starts off with just Loctera and a party of Muggles because we need them for the big fight against the Marshal at the beginning. And what's supposed to happen is when you name a character, they get saved into their proper spot in the memory. But we did not go and meet Celeste, who is sat in there by General Kutan, or by just Kutan. So that Kutan's data never got overwritten by Celeste's data. So we have a Moogle that we cannot use. Well, we can use, but we cannot equip, and can't really do anything with. It doesn't have dances because it's not Mog. It's just literally a random Moogle. which isn't very fun at all. So, in some of the other full categories of Final Fantasy VI, we actually go in and make sure to name Celeste so that data gets written. But otherwise, yeah.
Yo, you do not know who Mog's wife is, okay? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows the dynamics of Google relationships, okay?
They're probably super exciting.
So exciting.
Super exciting. So this is very similar to the Moogle fight at the beginning, where he has to move and navigate. So he did cut that timing a little close, but is totally fine. Ooh, and then walked out too soon. This fight is generally much easier to dodge all the different battles in. However, you do have to wait for everyone to pass. It's a little harder to take advantage of people being in the moving position with how they're moving in this one. So, but there is 2 waves of enemies, and you can just wait until they move out of the way and move to your next spot. So this is a little unfortunate because these guys can do a bit of damage, and you want your HP as high as possible going into Kefka because he can be really quite nasty. But that's okay, almost done this fight, and providing he has no more, he should be okay.
So this run's almost over.
Yep.
We hope.
Theoretically, he did do a safety save, so it's not so bad if not. He has saving in the back row is actually okay, because he's going to be doing blitzes, so back row is fun. Party in the back row.
Oh.
Doing some safety curing, which I definitely approve of. So
yes,
in the spot,
make sure he's in the front row. Make sure.
Yeah, but he definitely wants to make sure to get up there as soon as possible, because if he waits too long, oh, we got the rider. That's the Netta rider. I've hit him many times, and you saw he got the timing just wrong. But yeah, if you don't get to Kefka fast enough, those soldiers will make it to the top and start fighting your single person parties, and you can guess how that turns out.
Very well.
Oh, super well. Spoilers, it does not work out well.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
I was hoping to level up Terra. I think she's got a big role to play in this Kefka fight.
Huge role. So this fight can be quite tricky. You're trying to get enough hits in and do the wait trick in order to make sure Kefka does not get his 3rd turn, because one of the things he can do on his 3rd turn is a full party ice 2, which is absolutely devastating. You do not want that at all. So,
You saw the beginnings of a wait trick there at the beginning, but unfortunately I don't think he waited quite long enough.
And no, yeah, you do need to sit in a menu while someone is doing an attack. Usually it's while Sabin is doing his Aura Bolt, as that's quite a long animation. So it's a good time to take advantage of that. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully he gets it.
Yeah,
yes, he did. He got a bolt, but he has also completed. So he has completed with a final time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 40 seconds. So congratulations. He had a really rough run. So the fact that he stuck it out and continued really says a lot. So GG and congratulations.
GG. So our next run